Secretary General, welcome to the Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi, Kenya. This is the largest gathering, I think, in the continent's history of people on climate change and humanity's response to climate change. There are many delegations, many organizations. I want to start by first understanding, why is this relevant to the Commonwealth?
Well, the Commonwealth has 56 member states from the 5 regions of the world, crossing 6 basins of the ocean. And 21 of our member states are African. Climate change has been something which has absolutely devastated the whole continent, but also has caused huge damage to the world, but particularly, I would say, our 56 countries, the majority of whom are in the global south. The Commonwealth first started to ban the drum on climate change way back in 1989 in the Langkawi Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that took place in Malaysia. And the Commonwealth came up with the Langkawi Declaration. In that declaration, the Commonwealth said that if we did not address quickly the issue of climate change, it will pose an existential threat, particularly because 33 of our members are small. 25 are small island developing states. And so many of them are low-lying and they will simply disappear. So that was in 1989. If you look at that report, everything our leaders said back then, tragically, is happening in our world today. And that 99% of the deaths coming from climate change are happening in the global south. And this is simply not acceptable. But we know it's going to take all of us. So the Commonwealth has been pushing since 1989. This is like a snowball in the sun upper mountain saying, we have to face climate change. We have to change it. And in 2015, before Paris took place in December, the Commonwealth said we had to have accountability. We had to have enforceability of the process. We had to have 1.5 as an aspirational target and 2 degrees as the absolute minimum. And so we've been championing as a family of nations this issue. So as you can imagine, I'm thrilled that Kenya and the President Ruto has made the first climate summit in Africa so that Africa's voice can be heard and Africa can be the solution to many of the global problems. And that today and yesterday, listening to the leaders was truly inspirational to hear their determination, to see their solidarity, and to know that Africa is determined that we will meet this challenge for humanity. I think it was President Ruto who said, this is where humanity began. And the whole world is coming home because this is where we came from, just a few meters away. And as a result, I hope this is where humanity will be saved, because climate crisis that we now face actually are imperiling us all. And there's not a second world. This is it. And we have to save it.
Fantastic response. Your organization represents over 2 billion, I think 2.5 billion people, and is a voice in many ways for those people. But the question is, who has to do the heavy lifting? It feels like most of the countries that the Commonwealth represents are in the global south, are the poorer countries of the world, and of course, the most impacted or the worst impacted. So what is the ask, and who are we asking, and what are we asking them to do?
Well, I think what's extraordinary about the Commonwealth is we have everyone. We have some of the richest countries in the world, some of the poorest countries in the world, some of the most fragile countries in the world, some of the landlocked. We've got island states, you name it, we have everyone. And that's our power, because everybody around the table has something that we must do. There are people, a number of countries in the G20, but we've also got countries in the P5. So it's a real responsibility for all of us to work and to give what we can to make sure that we are solution oriented. I think it was really powerful what many of the leaders said yesterday and today. This is not a blame game, South versus North. We can create a win-win. If you look at the minerals that Africa has, the opportunity we have to develop and take advantage of those, we can turn the economies from billions to trillions. But it will take all of us working together. It'll also take investment. And we are demonstrating in our Commonwealth that there are real opportunities and possibilities. The ocean could generate trillions in terms of economies. The ocean itself is probably worth about 23 trillion, but we only tasting a little tiny bit of that. But we know if we come together and take advantage of the blue economy to create a regenerative, sustainable approach to managing, we will get everything that we need. So I think we need to get the money into the hands of those who need it. If you look at how much money Africa currently gets in order to deliver on this Paris agenda, it's about 30 billion. Africa needs about 2.8 trillion to get to where we need to be by 2030. Now, there's a pathway to do that we can take. And we in the Commonwealth are doing some of the analytical work. We're looking at the geospatial data so we can better predict where we're going. We've created something called common sensing. I've already mentioned that we have the Blue Charter and the Living Lands Charter, and the fact that we're looking at debt and how do we deal with debt better, and our opportunity to take advantage of the trading opportunities we have. At the moment, we've got about $721 billion worth of intra-Commonwealth trade. We believe we can grow that to 2 trillion by 2030, 1 trillion by 2026. Huge opportunities for us to use digital trade. If you look at the transformation, innovation that's happening in this country, the opportunity to use that to drive the trade advantage, all of that we need to do. And so we need to look at the positives, what's innovative. We've got to identify what works and share with each other what has not worked. But I think it can be done. It just will need all of us working together to do it.
Thank you so much, Secretary General, for this interview, and enjoy the rest of the summit. Thank you.